Welcome back. This is part 2. Let's continue the project. So we have added this functionality, the add section button, add section top and add section bottom. Now we will add functionality for drag and drop. We will not add functionality for these options first. We will add drag and drop functionality. So let's add the event listener for drag and drop. So this is the click event. Inside it we cannot add the drag and drop functionality. We need to add different event listener, and this time we will add it on body tag. So add event listener. There are few drag and drop functionality events. So one is drag over. It takes a callback. I will copy and paste it few times, not the replace, it's just the callback. First drag over, second drag leave, then we have the drop event, we have drag start, and we have the drag end. These two events, the last drag start and drag end, these are useful for these components when we start dragging them, and first three events, they are for the drop zone where we drop the component. Now the drop zone is something where we drop the component, that we call a drop zone, or you can give it any name. So first three for the drop zone and last two for dragging the components. Now let's start with the drag start. So as soon as we start dragging the component, we add a functionality in here. So for that, first we need to get the component that we are dragging. So for that, if I inspect these components, they are inside this component list. Let me make it bigger. So this is the component list. Inside it we have these 4 components, and each component has these attributes. One is draggable true. Now this draggable true makes any element in the DOM draggable. If you add this one in div button, it will make that draggable. And the second property I have added, this is for the type of the component that we are dragging. So this is text, image, button, or form in text. So first let's grab the draggable equals to true attribute, like the element which has this attribute, we will grab that. So I will add a variable draggable equals to event dot target dot closest, and inside it we add a selector. So all the elements are inside this component list. So I will add this ID components list, and inside it we have this property, this attribute draggable equals to true. So any component which has this functional this attribute, we will select that. Okay, and we add a check here. Let's say we don't find it, we just want to return early, we don't want to execute next line of code. So once we find the draggable component, from this draggable component we will read this property component type, because this is useful when we drop the component. Based on this, we will add the UI for the text, image, or button inside our the section. So let's define a new variable component type. We will get it from draggable dot get attribute, and the attribute is what? Data component type. We want to read it, and let this console log it, and we will see what is the value here, component type. And when we start dragging a component, we need to set a value, because when we drop the component, we want to know what component we have dropped. So for that, we add this event dot data transfer dot set data, and here we will say it's a text plain data, and we'll add this value component type. Now let's add a functionality in this drag over, drag leave, and drop. Now this drag end, in this project we will not use it, but this is useful if you want to trigger something when you drop a component. That means you have stopped dragging, so that's a drag end event, so that you can use it, but we are not using it. We will go to the drag over and add functionality there. Now drag over, it is for this section. So first we need to get the section, which is this. Now each section has the same structure. They have this attribute data target type, and inside it data target section, and this section has a one class drop section. This is where we will add the component when we drop the component inside this section. So first we need to get or select this one inside the drag over. So let's say this is target section, and we will select it event.target.closest, and it will have attribute target type equals to section, and we add a check here. If we don't find the target section, then there is no point of executing next line of code, so we return early. But if we find it, if we find the target section, we need to select this target. So that I will give it a name target drop zone, because this is where we will drop the component. So once we have this target section, we will say query selector, give me this element target equals to section. Now we will add a check here. If we don't find it, this drop zone, then we just want to return early, don't want to execute next line of code. But if we find the drop zone, we will add event.target.classList.add. Now why I will add this class here? Because I want a visual feedback when I drop or drag a component on a section. So if I save it and I add a section, now if I drag and move this component over this section, you see it is getting this blue background. So this is a visual feedback, so we will know that we are on our target element. Now I will just refresh it, because we did not remove this class when we are leaving. So I will just copy and paste. This is the same thing we need to select. And when we drag leave means when we go over a section and then we leave it, it means we are leaving the section. So that time this drag leave event will be fired, and for that we want to remove the class drag over. So now if I add section, move this, drag this component over this section, we add a class, we go outside, remove, added, remove. So this is drag over, this is drag leave event. Now we come to the main part, drop. When we drop the component, we want to add that component to the UI for that inside that particular section. So we will need these two things again, because this is where we will drop the component. So I will just copy it. I will copy all these 5 lines. We can just write a function and get those things from function, but it's just few lines. We can just copy and paste here, and in here we will get the component type. Now this component type we will read from this data transfer. So when we started dragging, we added this property here, this value. Now we will read it here. So event.dataTransfer.getData. This is text plain, and the value we want to read is component type. So let's just console log this and see if we are actually reading the value or not. Okay, we'll see it in action. So this is component type. Now one more thing, we need to add event.preventDefault. If we don't add it, it won't let us add the component. We need to add it for drag over and for this one here. So now if I open the console log, add a section, drag and drop the component. It says cannot access component type, line number 63. Okay, cannot access. Okay, wait a minute. Let's do it like this. Okay, wait a minute. Cannot access component type before initialization. Oh, this is wrong. We don't want to add it here. We just want to read the value. We just move it back. Now let's refresh, add a section, drag and drop. Okay, we are getting the null. Why is that? So if we come in here, we are reading the value here. So 70 and 64. I think something wrong when we are reading the value. Component type, let's see this one in here. The list is here. Component type, we are reading it here. Okay, it should work. Okay, I think our selection is wrong. This will be just simple without a square bracket. Now if I come here, drag and drop, you see we have these component type, image, form text and button. Now we can transfer the value from drag start to the drop, and we can have in our drop event. Now based on this component type, we will add HTML UI, the actual HTML of that component. For that I have prepared a list of UI for each and every component. I will just add it here, and that we will add inside a function. So in here I will define a new function. It is called get component UI. We will pass it component type. Based on component type we will read it. Let me just grab the list of the component. So this is the component list. It's nothing but object, and it has the HTML for each component type. For text, this is the HTML. For image, for button, and yeah, we have 4 components. And in here I will add the, so we will get the component UI based on this component type, then we will return it. Okay, so here I will say component UI, we will get it from component UI list. We will read based on component type, and if we have the component UI, then we will not directly return this HTML string. We will return the HTML node as we did inside this get section. So we can just append that child. So in here I will call window dot get HTML from string, and we will pass it component UI, and we will just return it. If it is not there, we will return the null, and I will save it. Now let's add this function on window object, and if I come here, I will call it here. So we have this drop zone. Now first let's get the component UI. We have this window dot get component UI. We will pass it component type, and if we get the component UI, then target drop zone dot append child, we will add this component UI. Okay, now let's see if it is working or not. So if I will just increase this size, add a section, drag text and drop, and we have our drop component. So it's working fine. Let's add an image. Okay, it's working. Add form, add button. Okay, button is not working. Let's see why button is not working. So we see the component type is button, and if we go to our component UI function, we have text, image. Okay, this is the button and this is this. Okay, let's change this one. So for that, let's open the index.html. In here its component type is button. Let's change it to button. Now let's test it again. Add section, add form text, image, and add button, and there we have the button. So all the components now we can add by just dragging and dropping into the section. So drag and drop functionality is working just fine. We can add any component, just drag and drop, it will be added there, and each component will have their options, because if you look at this list, if it is an image, we have the target type image, inside it we have the target image, and then we have all these options. So all these components and their UI, they follow the same structure, the target type, inside we have the target, and then options. So this is it. So for this video, this is it. We have added the drag and drop functionality. I will see you in next video and we'll continue there. Thanks.